ding, ding, ding.
There it is. Hello, welcome. This is Access Astrology. We are three astrologers who get together every week and share what's going on in the sky and how that's reflected on the earth and in the people and circles of people around us. My name is Mark Waltz. I'm talking from New York City, and I'm joined by Heather.
This is Heather Rowan Robbins from calling in from Montana, just north of Missoula, and Ann.
Ann Ortley down here in Florida, where it's a little bit foggy today.
Yeah. We bisect the whole country.
We divide the country, right? We're all good.
And today is an exciting day. You know, not only are we at the Sun, Venus, and Mars are conjunct together at the same degree for the first time in 20 years. And they're opposite Jupiter, and there's a giant solar flare that went off this morning, but not towards Earth, but towards Mars and Venus, which are on the other side of the Sun from us. So, you know, right behind the Sun is Mars and Venus, they're cazimi, and big blast of energy. And you can feel it. Like all the emotions are just percolating all over the place.
Yeah.
And it's in Capricorn, so everybody wants to do something about it, whether it's their personal life or the politics, which are off the charts right now. Mm-hmm. So it's really stirred up time.
Yeah. It's really it's a good chart. Today's chart is a good chart for negotiating. We've got any negotiating to do, because
now that
Venus and Mars are trying to work with the Sun, and Jupiter's over there saying, "Come on, get it together, get it together," right. And it's just really pushing for that. Mm-hmm. And Neptune and Saturn are working together in Pisces. They figured out a way if you work with them. And the Moon is just entering Libra, which also calls for balance. Mm-hmm. So and that leads me to say, get out there and negotiate.
Right. And also legal matters. Libra's legal matters.
Yep. Yeah, if you have any legal matters to take care of.
Right.
Like our country is trying to work on at the moment. Yeah.
Illegally.
Well, legally, illegally, it's, you know, what's that energy? But we also are going to have, as the Moon in Libra goes forward tomorrow, it's going to form a hammer of Thor with Pallas Athena over here at 24 and with Uranus at 27. And Pallas Athena is all about justice, impartial justice, you know, and Uranus is all about wild and crazy and what are we doing? And the Moon in Libra is answering to our lovely little Venus saying, hey, Capricorn, follow the rules. You know, so it's a real interesting energy that's out there. And Mercury's out of bounds till the 17th. Mars and Venus came in on Sunday. Mm-hmm. So we had the invasion it feels like, I mean, how did we have 7 days? We're only on the 8th, right? How do we have 7 days? We invaded Nicaragua on that full moon out of bounds, Mercury out of bounds, Venus out of bounds, Mars out of bounds.
We invaded.
Don't follow the rules. Yeah.
Well, you said that we invaded Nicaragua. We invaded Venezuela, but we did invade Nicaragua January 3rd, same day.
In
1990.
Yeah, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Yeah.
And that's when the sun is opposite the sun of America, 13 Capricorn to 13 Cancer. And so it's interesting that we move into this oppositional energy as the sun sets that off.
Yeah, I was looking at Nicaragua's chart earlier, so that's why we went after Manuel Noriega, and that was a little more of a war actually, but it was. I remember them playing really loud rock music because they were going to drive him crazy all night playing the music, and I'm like, really? That's a tactic? You know, but it was catching him and bringing him back and charging him and all that other stuff. So we'll see what happens. But yeah.
One of the things that I noticed this is the chart of America and the chart of Trump and then the chart of Vance on the outside. Now, America has its moon at 20, if we use the Sibley chart, the moon at 27 Aquarius, and that Trump's Mars is an ascendant. Mars is at 26 Leo, directly opposite that. And Vance's ascendant is 27 Leo, directly opposite that. Vance has his Venus on the ascendant, Trump has his Mars on the ascendant, and oppose this. And Uranus is at 27 Taurus right now, squaring their ascendants and their Venus and their emotional planets, and squaring our moon. Now it's going to be off that it's stationing, now early February, and it's going to move off in a few months. But right now it's sitting right on this, having them provoke. And we have the moon in Aquarius in the neighborhood, in the community, and it has been very intense.
Yeah. Very intense and very hard. Yeah.
And we thought
Vance's Neptune is getting the square from Saturn and Pluto, or Saturn and Neptune, from in Pisces. So that also is down in the third house, provocative words and how we're doing it. So
now, one of the things that I noticed, I have the day, we don't have the time for when Minneapolis was incorporated, but the day, I'm saying, because I was there, I was at Philando Castile's funeral in Minneapolis when he was first killed, and then George Floyd, and now this. Why is, since Neptune has been in Pisces, it's been going back over all the Pisces planets of Minneapolis's conception. And really, let's say we had one martyr after the other, 3 major martyrs that have affected our history, and dealing with brutality right in through this. And this one's named Good. So I thought that lineup was pretty intense. Looking at what it is that, and I noticed that when I looked at the trifwheel, because I used to live in Minneapolis, it's still really close to my heart, that Minneapolis's progressed sun is 27 Leo, squaring that Uranus and sitting,
and on
their stuff sitting right on that. Yep.
Donald Trump's Mars and also JD Vance's Mars. So that
Venus, yep, all
Venus,
sitting right on that.
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting that it all perked off at the same time. So, but I have hope, it's hard to have hope in this, but there's a lot of people that threw their hat into the political ring this week with that Venus, Mars, Sun conjunction in Capricorn.
Right.
Like, you see a problem, you want to do something about it. And so I'm seeing there's a real struggle for what is leadership at the moment. Real questions on it, more questions towards this than I've seen, real questioning, not just left to right, but even within the Republican Party. So I have hopes that this can also birth a new phase of healthier leadership, but it's going to take a while for it to come to the surface. But where do you have hope, Anne?
Well, I think, I just always am stunned by the energy. Chiron stationed in a world point also over the weekend, and Aries, right, which is warrior energy, but also being wounded by warriors, or being wounded. So I'm really, I keep going. I get we're redefining us. We're redefining, the whole world's redefining everything. And a lot of this is, what is it we believe in, and why do we believe in it? And, today I was really upset about her being killed. I'm really more for the kids, that they are now motherless. And I guess her husband died a couple years ago. So, the kids are orphans, technically, and I know her mother's alive and help, but at the same time, that burden on a kid when your parents pass, and just the senselessness of it, and I'm sorry, I haven't read. I mean, I have read 1984, but I'm also not like, well, I tell you what you see. I'm like, I'm sorry, that guy fired a point blank range
right
into the car. There were people in there. There were stuffed animals in there. Her wife was in there. I mean, it's like
her dog
was in there. I mean, and then they wouldn't let medical people. And then the guy left the scene of the murder. He got in his car and he drove off. He didn't stay. And I'm like, when did we turn into this? We get to watch somebody be executed. And I get nobody stopped him. I think everybody in the moment was stunned. But I also think the whole rush to judgment, well, this is what it is. It's like, no, that's not what it was.
And then a doctor tried to get to her and they wouldn't let him.
Yeah.
Yep. And then they went down the block to a high school, surrounded it, and hassled the students.
Right.
So the mayor has said no school for the rest of the week because
Good.
we don't feel our kids are safe.
Right.
Because that was 9:40 in the morning when that happened.
Yeah.
They were dropping the kids off from school, right?
Now
yeah, I find it really. I mean, I'm like with Christy Nome. I mean, the woman shot her dog in the face and the goat right after. So we know she's a sociopath. But the lack of empathy about a human life is what I have a lot of reaction to. And it was interesting. I was reading an article on cruelty, and it was like cruelty is uneducated people. You know, people that are cruel or uneducated, haven't grown, haven't worked out, basic stuff, and they're dumb, and I'm like.
And that could be brilliant and uneducated, brilliant and unaware.
And brilliant and completely, unempathetic. Yeah. So I'm also looking, I dug out Daisy Dorada, even though the world's got broken dreams, you're going to be fine. And I'm like crying. And I just find days like this very hard. No, I mean, I also recognize this is what we, as humans here on Earth, incarnated now, our job is to go through this and go, okay, events happen. What are my choices about how I work with this? What are my best choices? So I went, all right, I know a few people hit me up for money because they're running for, office, and I mailed some money out. And, because I can send money and support Democrats, running, or people running for change. So it's also, it's very, I mean, I get it. I totally understand. We're in the year of the snake. We're shedding all this stuff. We're going to have the year of the fire horse starting in February, and it's going to gallop, and it's a 1 year. So it's very initiating, and it's very big, and it feels like it's going super fast. And it is, because all those Capricorn planets are cardinal. And they're like, and the Jupiter's in cardinal, and the Chiron's in cardinal, and now the moon's in cardinal. So we're galloping already, even though we still have a month to go before we start officially.
And it's not just America. Iran now is in
shut down his internet and Russian implements left.
Right.
So they're having riots in the streets in Iran.
And they've cut down the internet completely. So, I think that same sense of how do we, old structures that aren't working, and people are having a highly charged reaction to whatever happens in their life. So let it be a charge. Remember to, if we can, wherever we can, to stay out of reaction and into creation. Like you don't like the paradigm, make a new one. Work towards that other place.
Yeah, there's a lot of energy toward building.
Yeah.
That's this Capricorn bunch.
Yes.
They want to build, and there's a certain amount of jostling that goes on to get to build things. But get ready for it and put your energy into it.
And go watch videos of goats.
It helps.
That's Capricorn, because they always are butting each other with their little horns, and then they are trying to get on the top of the mountain, and they're scampering and playing, and then they run to the top of the hill, and there's pictures of the goats on the cliffs, and you're like, how did they do that? So that's the energy. Capricorn's highly charged. Plus, Sun, Venus is a Cazimi, new cycle starting. Sun, Mars is a Cazimi, new cycle starting. Venus, Mars is a Cazimi, new cycle starting. So we're starting 3 big cycles this week. And it's like, so what are you going to do about it?
Right.
What are you going to do? And that question, what are you going to do? And you go, well, I'm going to do this. And so that's where we have to land, because that's where we can take action. What can I do? I can do this. Yeah.
And we have, I was very grateful that when we said last week, we were caught up with people's charts, 30 people responded in with their charts. So we're going to work our way through it. It may take a while to get to there, but we will get to everybody. This is Jen, who was born in Larkspur, California, and she didn't have a specific question. She loves our show, which is lovely, but she kind of wants to know where she is now and what's coming up in 2026. But we got a lot of questions around work, and that's something that a lot of people are asking about this week. One, because the work situation is really rather horrific at the moment, as so many businesses are closing down. But a lot of people are searching for, like, even if they're working, is it their true job with those planets in Capricorn? Just like you said, climbing that mountain. So
And
here's
also the
Jen.
Saturn Neptune meeting up, or their job is on some level dissolving, or is unmeaningful, or isn't serving their purpose anymore. And the Saturn Neptune conjunction on Aries, 0.0, which is
That'll be February
20th, is like, okay, rock and roll, let's go. So this is a really good time to do your questing, your visioning, your vision boards. What is it I want? What am I drawn to? One of the people I'm on a thread with, her husband lost his job in 2020 during the depression, because they were not depression during COVID. They were in event planning, and he's gotten a few jobs since then, which were all okay. But he interviewed for a soccer coach job, and it's a school, and they were like, "We're thrilled with you." And he loves coaching, and so this is
fabulous.
Fingers crossed he gets this job, and he would be coaching the girls' soccer team and the boys' soccer team. And and he's more excited. He's like, if I don't get this job, I will cry. But they were like, we really love you. We want to hire you. So it was kind of
wonderful.
like watching for that dream, and and him going to work and getting jobs and being like, not my dream anymore, not my dream. So thinking of that Saturn, Neptune, and Aries having the ability to make an impact on young people, and helping them vision and work together collaboratively and build something. Because once the dissolving is done, which is what we're in now, we're going to build stuff.
So we have this on Jen here, this lineup of planets in Libra that's taking the squares from the Saturn, the Capricorn. But she was born with Pluto rising, which usually means a kind of a tough birth. The things were tricky when she was born, of feeling like it's life or death, and it's kind of intense. And people that go through that at birth, we tend to replicate how we walked into this planet with how we entered new phases in our life. So it may, she may feel like in general, birth, like once she's in the room, she's fine. Once she breaks that barrier, she's great. But stepping into a new room or stepping into a new role can be a little uncertain for her. That's not, wait, the next person. Let me get Jen's tri-wheel. So what would you say, her progressed moon's in Leo this year. This lineup of planets in Capricorn is close to her Mars in the second house. Be careful what she spends. But it looks like there's some good stuff coming up that's stimulating a lot of change in her life. What are you seeing, Anne?
Well, she's had a Jupiter return. So Jupiter raises each planet in order. So this next 12 years, Jupiter is raising her Venus, which is on a world point, 0 Libra, and it's going to have the Saturn Neptune opposite it. So that means this is a really big year for you, Jen, for what is your heart's desire? What is it you dream for? And because you're a Libra with the moon and the sun and the Mercury and the Venus in Libra, there's a lot of energy here about how you express yourself. And with your sun on a world point, what is the inner dream you've always had that you maybe worked on when you were little, but then went, oh, okay, now I have to be practical? Because right now, the Venus entered Jupiter talking to Venus and taking her on a ride for the next 12 years until you're 36. This is an excellent time for your career, your direction in life, what's important to you, and what your work and your creativity make. So I like the progressions that she's having. Mark, what do you see?
You want to pay attention to how you learn. You learn a lot quickly, and everything you learn takes you on to the next step. And study that process a little, because it's your key to working with a job or with other people. So, but you don't think of it. It's just you're caught up in it. So it's a constant learning, and the learning leads to the next learning. And see how that operates in your life, and put yourself in position to use it.
Mhm.
Beautiful.
Then you're going to have a Venus in October. You're going to have a Sun Venus cazimi on your progressed Venus. So we're going to watch what shows up then in terms of directional pull. Like you're going to be like, hey, here's an invitation, Jen. You want to do it? And you're going to be like, that looks like fun. So, kind of say yes to everything. But with the Saturn in Gemini, you have to do everything twice, and you have a double name, Jen, which totally makes sense because Gemini is, I can't just do it once. I got to do it 2 times. And of course, you were born right after 9/11, right? So you're very tied into world events also. Your chart tied, your sun's on our Saturn, your Jupiter's on our sun. So your chart has an ability in your lifetime to make a big difference in the world. So, set those goals high. Yeah, go for it.
Yep.
Somebody asked in our comments, said, hi, everybody. Does anyone do astrocartography? And I think all of us do astrocartography.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just, but it's not easy to do on this program. So that's something more you want to do one-on-one.
Yeah.
And we can talk more about that at some time. But here's Patty's chart, and Patty wants to know, when was the best time in 2026 to pursue a new job? We get a lot of job questions this week. I'd like to stay in the same field. She's been working in, the medical field since 2013, but also I'm open to new things. She has her degree in finance, insurance, quality control, and is interested in AI work. So with that Uranus Pluto, I mean, she's good at helping offices change, like go in and help them learn how to use the AI. I would say her getting to know if she really is interested in it, to really get up on that, because she's good more than doing the same thing every day. She's good in going in and retraining an office and helping them make changes.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things that I'm seeing.
Yeah, she's very good at directing things.
Talk about that, Mark.
You have all that ability to direct people, and show them why they're being directed to do this and do that. And it brings out the courage in them to go forward.
Yeah, compassionate leadership on that.
Yeah,
and you can work well behind the scenes as long as they don't ignore you. And what do you see?
Well, I like that she's starting, again, a new chapter, career wise. So I think this is a good year for her to be like, well, what do I want? Because she's been thinking a little restless lately. And you can see your progressed Jupiter's about to go into Cancer. And when we get to June-ish, you're going to have Jupiter on your sun. So that's very nice. And then Jupiter's going to go into Leo, and he's going to be in that all the way up to 27. So he's going to activate everything in your chart. So I would be looking when we get to the summer and Uranus gets back into Gemini after April 23rd would be the time frame that I would think you would find something. Yeah. The restlessness maybe kicked up, like what were you doing over 4th of July weekend, July 7th last year, and that pays off the end of April. So if you started some kind of training course or some program, or you got interested in AI, do that, and then once Jupiter hits your sun at 25, which is in June timeframe, there's a nice energy. Jupiter goes direct when we get to March, and you have a very strong Jupiter. He's high in your chart. He rules your work house. He rules your mind. He rules your nodes of fate. He rules all your Pisces planets. So when he finishes, when he gets into Aries and Saturn gets into Aries and gets off of your Pisces stuff, it'll feel like you're released like a rocket. You're kind of, the image I get is you're shooting across the sky. And then also look at what went a little wild during the eclipse season last year on September 7th. So that could have been like, I'm done here. It's time for me to go do a new job, like some kind of power struggle at work that you weren't valued for.
Also in May, your progressed moon is going to conjunct the midheaven. And it moves then into the 10th house, and it's a really good time for career.
Yeah. Totally.
And for the next couple of years, your progressed Mercury is going to be conjunct Uranus and Pluto. So you're definitely, your life isn't going to stay the same. and to be in control of the changes by seeking them out in a healthy way rather than waiting for them to happen to you is really going to be good for you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Great. And the
Good
next
luck,
one.
Patty.
Yeah. And this is Diana's chart. And Diana from Paraguay says, I've been searching and working at different places since 19. She's now 43, have jobs have been related to customer service, then mental health as clinician, and then education as a special ed teacher, teaching Spanish in a bilingual school. But she doesn't feel like she's ever found a job that's quite right. Usually the cycles are about 2 years that Mars return when I start to feel like I'm searching for a new job. It doesn't feel like she fits in. And that's because she will never, I mean, I don't think she will ever fit in, but that's her job, is to be the bridge, not to kind of be embedded. She's never going to find the perfect place, but she can help people understand each other. That role of translating and teaching not only languages, but feelings, and helping them understand a different perspective and feel it. But she may identify more with what I call the bridge people, that the people that are built to bridge rather than the built to be embedded in either place. What do you see, Anne, as far as like what would be her the perfect other job? What would be how she's going to feel in things?
Yeah, I agree with you. That it's not a chart it's kind of like Mick Jagger's chart. You're not going to be satisfied. Which is okay if you know that. So the whole goal with your chart with the moon in Gemini is you're coming in as a restless being, right? Moon in Gemini. Last lifetime you were a Gemini sun, and this lifetime you're a Taurus. So the Taurus wants some more stability, but your Venus is in water in the 8th house. So what happens is she goes in and does the work, finishes the job up, and then like, okay, I did this, and then the chart gets bored, frankly, and it wants to change. So if you know that, um, that's not a bad thing. I remember being at a Thanksgiving dinner where I was talking to a guy my aunt and uncle had invited over, and he was chatting to me about stuff, and he said something about what my career had been, and I kind of told him, and my father in the corner pipes up and goes, "She gets bored and leaves the job." And I kind of looked at him and I went, "Yeah, I do." So there's nothing wrong with being bored and leaving the job because you're not happy with how you're being seen, worked with, honored. Your sun is quincunx, your Mars, and your Athena and your Uranus. So this Heather's comment is a catalyst. I would also say you're a catalyst for change. You show in and change stuff, and then when it's done, you're kind of like, all right, next. As opposed to, well, you have to get a job and be secure and be safe and be this and be that. That's not your path. So, reframing what the childhood messages were will help a lot.
Yeah.
Mark, you see.
You have a lot of gentle energy, and people will see you as being a gentle person and also optimist. And you're able to be an optimist even though there's kind of a sourness at the edge. You're always aware that there's something sour in the taste, but you get optimistic about where it can go. And so it's a great way to work, is with that optimism. It makes it hard for you to settle on things. That's also the moon in Gemini. But you're there with the optimism.
I'd say, your progressed moon is right on your south node in Capricorn. So you right now, and all this pile up is sitting right on that. That like you have great work ethic, but you're really tired of, keeping it that pace. What I'd say is you also, and Pluto is trining your Mars, and that's that Mars cycle we're talking about. But you were born with Saturn and Pluto in the 3rd house, and that's kind of an existential angst about not believing that you were going to be understood. And then we're going to go back to some very early patterns about not feeling understood in your family of origin very early on, that sort of set that pattern. So own it. Don't worry about being understood. Worry about helping them understand you the best you can. But you've got a special skill with people that don't feel understood. So that's where, the bilingual kids or the special needs kids or the mental health issues, like working with children that are bilingual that need counseling. It's a real special niche for those that don't feel. Go look for the people that also feel ununderstood. That's a community that you can really serve in a beautiful way.
Right. And the other thing is, you incarnate between house 8 and 9. So you incarnated with Mars, with Aries, and you were born with Mars retrograde. So the
Mm-hmm.
first part of your life, Mars is going backwards. If you notice in the second ring, the Mars is now black, it's not red. So Mars has gone direct. So I do think when it gets to Athena, which is coming, she's that little diamond head girl on the inside. When your Mars gets to Athena, you'll be like, oh, I found something I really like. And also, you can see your progressed ascendant is 28 and 2 months. So in a year and 10 months, that progressed ascendant goes into Libra, which again answers to your nice Venus in Pisces instead of to your Mercury in Taurus or your progressed Mercury retrograde. So I do think in a year and 10 months you're going to find something you really love that you'll then be able to do for 30 years, and it'll be some kind of partnering relationship rather than being in service to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you've got it coming, but don't, it's really about, yeah, this is who I am. And one of the beauties of astrology is we look at the chart and we go, well, this is who I am and this is why I'm here. And being born in 82, you're also having, you're at your, technically your midlife crisis, right? So there's a lot of energy here. What happens is all the planets that haven't had a chance to act semi-square all the other planets, and it's kind of like the A team sits down and the B team goes in and runs around for a while, and because the score is real high. So this is a very big year for you, allowing flexibility into your life. And when you have the Uranus opposite your Uranus, which is age 42 generally, which is this next year, Uranus is going to be in Gemini opposite your Uranus. We're going to watch when we get to the end of April what happens with you in terms of feeling a little better. But right now you're in Capricorn moon. It's the bottom of the barrel. Look for things to apprentice to that you want to do for your work.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to learn? What's being offered to you to learn that looks interesting, knowing that's going to take a little bit for it to settle, but it does settle. So it's not forever, but the first part of your life is your planets are backwards. So we have to get them moving forward.
Yeah. So on that notice, we're going to go back to today. We're done for the time. We're going to be catching up on the charts that everybody sent in over the next few weeks.
Mm-hmm. And we just have a temporary change. I'm in a shuffleboard league that we were trying to get the Monday, but we were closed out. It was sold out. So we're on Tuesday. So for the next 8 weeks, we'll be Thursday, and then we'll go back. We'll go to the league we're supposed to be in, and I'll be playing on Monday instead of on Tuesday, and we'll be good to go. So
that'll be good.
Okay.
Unless we love Thursdays. So
unless we love Thursdays, we may stay. Okay. Well, Thursday is Jupiter's day, so we're very wise on Thursdays. That's
Mark.
What
would you like to close us out with meditation?
Sure, let's take a moment. Just close your eyes. Exhale. Take a long breath in. And then even longer breath out. And then think about what's going on this week with Venus and Mars and the Sun, all trying to work together in Capricorn. Ask yourself how you can bring those energies together and find something to build. Okay, take a longer breath in. Open your eyes and get ready for the week.
Thank you all, and we'll see you next week.
Goodbye from Florida.
Bye from Montana.
Bye from New York.
And remember, any of us are available for one-on-one readings if that's what you're ready for.
Yep.
Bye.
Okay.